Hey there, how's it going? Welcome to Looplearnings, and this is video number 11 of the series of how to make inventory management system. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I would request you to do that and hit the bell icon so you get notification whenever I upload a new video. If you haven't watched the previous 10 videos of this series, the link for the entire playlist is in the description below. So you can click on it and go ahead and watch the video series. Right, let's get started with today's topic. Today we are going to focus on products. In last video we focused on catalogs, so we basically created a catalog, a little form, and then we did VBA coding behind these buttons, and we did some functionality. So similarly, we are going to create a form, similar form for the products. We are going to create the functionality to save the product, update the product information, mark that product as inactive, and much more. So I actually wanted to create the forms offline, but a lot of messages I get saying that please show how do you make form online. So that's why I have to include this form making process in the video, because it seems that a lot of people, for a lot of people it is helpful to see how the form is being created. So that's why I include. I know there will be some people who already know how to create forms and they just want to get right into VBA. So for you, I would suggest that you stream a little bit in the middle of the video, perhaps, to watch the VBA code if you are interested only in VBA. Okay, so let's get started. For creating the products form, remember the hierarchy is every catalog has products in it, and every product has variants in it. So for example, a category is electronics, right? So this is a category, electronics. Electronics could be anything, right? So we will have products which will be linked to the electronics category. So we will have smartphones, we will have televisions, we will have laptops, computers, etc. You get my point. And then each mobile has different variant, right? So each mobile has different manufacturer. So likewise, we have to create a hierarchy, a structure in inventory management, so that we can store the right database, and that will help us to create functionalities around the inventory management and other financial aspects as well. So let's go ahead and work with the products button, and I will simply close this form. What we need is simply, I'll copy this form and I'll paste it, and I will call it products. Now, why I did not create it from scratch? I can create a form from scratch, but we need to keep the same design language, same aesthetic. So that's why I prefer to copy the form. What I do is I delete the fields, because the fields for the product form will be entirely different. So now let's hook up this form with the table. That means linking it. So we'll go to the property sheet to data tab. So you can see here, instead of catalogs, I would link it to the products table. Okay, so now this form is linked to the product table. Now I want to bring the fields, so we can have them on the form, and so user can use it. And to do that, the form is selected, and when I say selected, the form is clicked on the corner here. Then I'll go to the form design, I'll go to the add existing fields, and I will select all, drag and drop onto the form. That is simple as that. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's do a little formatting here. Formatting always take a little bit of time because it is essential though. Formatting, it is very important. So let's make them narrow. Let's make it bold because they are header fields. Let's expand a little because I want to give a okay, that's it. Proper spacing. Created on product name, product acronym. Product acronym will be very important. Status, and then status date. Okay, let's expand a little bit, increase the width of it. Let's bring it here, and now let's make it bold. All right, so I'm just adjusting the size of this picture so it looks better when you are creating actually. All right, okay, next step is basically we have to identify which field out of these are not required to be edited by the user, so we can make them as a non-editable fields. So I believe product ID, I believe status and status date, created on. So these fields a user is not required to change it. We can automatically auto-populate the data in them. So we will simply lock these fields. So enabled no, locked yes, and I'll go to the form design, format, and I'll change the background color to light gray so user would know that these are non-editable field. You know what, let's bring the created on the top of it. Okay, well actually location ID as well, we don't want user to give a location ID separately. It will be automatically fetched from the background, from the main dashboard. So let's make that as enabled no, locked yes, and let's make the background color light gray for this as well. Okay, what else? The catalog ID. Well, for this field I would like to have a drop-down menu, or drop-down list that should show all the existing catalogs. Remember the hierarchy, we have to link each product to a catalog, so that's why this is how you link. So you choose the catalog from the drop-down list to which you wish to link this product to. So right now it is a text box. To convert it into a combo box, what we will need to do, we'll select this field, right click on it, and from the menu we will select change to, and we can have combo box selected here. Okay, now this is the text field is converted into a combo box, but it doesn't mean that it will fetch the information from a catalog table. We have to link this combo box to the table. Which table? Catalog table. And to do that, I will again go to the property sheet data tab, and in here we'll choose the row source. So I'll click on ... and I will go to the catalog. Where is catalog? There we go, that's the table name, catalog. And then what I would do is catalog ID. I would I would take the catalog name, and I would take the status. Now I'll tell you why status is required. Status is required if a catalog is marked as inactive. I don't want that name to be appeared on the products form, because that catalog is technically marked inactive, which means it is not available to be used. So that's why I want only the active catalogs in the drop-down menu, and to do that I have to provide a criteria to this query saying that I want only active catalogs. That's it. If any catalog that has a status inactive, that will not appear in the drop-down menu. I've been asked this question a couple of times, so that's why I'm demonstrating this. Okay, so this is how you bring the data from other table into a combo box. Now this combo box has three fields. So if I'll go to the form view, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right now it is only showing one, because column count, if I go to the property sheet again, the format tab, column count is only one. But technically in this particular combo box there are three columns. So if I'll go back to the query, there are three columns, column number 1, 2, 3, and they are counted as column 0, column 1, column 2. What I would like to have in that combo box for the users, I would like to have the catalog name, which means I have to hide the first column, which is column 0, and the third column, which is column 2. I have to hide these two columns, and I have to show the column number 1. Okay, so we'll go to the format. First of all, we'll change the column count. Column width would be 0, column 1, column 0. That is it. Okay, so now if I'll go to the catalog ID, you would see the catalog name, and this is the only catalog which is created yet in our database. So I hope that you have learned. If you didn't know this, of course, if you knew this already, then it is not for you, but if you did not, then it is for you. Okay, anyway, so catalog ID and product acronym, which brand, that information is required for this particular form to be filled in with by the user. Okay, let's align the buttons as well, and we will save the form. Okay, now the formatting is almost done. Now let's go ahead and do the VBA coding behind save and inactive button. Remember, I copied this form. This was another form, and therefore if I go to the back end of the buttons by clicking on event tab and on click event ... you will see there is already some code, because I already did a mention that I copied this form. All right, so that's why. Anyway, we are going to get rid of all of this code, this as well. Okay, so that is there. All right, so this code as well, this is for the other button. We will only keep the error handling code blocks. Rest everything we will delete it. All right, so this is btn save, and now let's do the coding. Now some logics I want to build in for the save button, and the logics are, for example, if the catalog ID field is empty, if the product field is empty, if the acronym field is empty, if the brand field is empty, if any of these fields are empty, then throw an error saying that this cannot be done. Okay, this data cannot be saved in the database. Otherwise, go ahead and save the data. The second functionality I want to build is that if, for example, if the status is already marked as inactive, right, the status is inactive, then nothing should be updated. User should not be able to update anything because the status is inactive. If there is already a status, it could be active status, then user should be able to update. Remember, this save button is being used to create a new record and to update the existing record. Now, to update the existing record, the condition is that the status has to be active, and if the status is inactive, then the record should not be able to update. I hope that you have got what I'm trying to say here. All right, so let's put those logics in. All right, so I'll come here and I'll say if me.status.value is equal to inactive, then toCMD.beep message box, and I would say this action cannot be performed as the product is already marked inactive. All right, okay, and VB critical comma information would be the header of the message box. Then I would say else if is null, else if me.status.value is equal to active, then toCMD.beep message box, the the product information has been updated successfully. Okay, there we go. So this would be VB information because it was successful, and the header of the message box would be information. Now the next condition is else if is null. Well, which field? I'm looking for catalog ID. So me.catalog ID dot value is equal to true, then toCMD.beep message box, please choose the catalog from the drop down list. Okay, VB critical, and the header would be information. And then let's set the focus as well. So to set focus, we would say me.catalog ID dot set focus. Right, so I'm going to copy the same code to save yours and my time, and now we can have product me.product, please provide, so just change the description of message box, please provide the product name to proceed further, and then we'll set focus to product. Okay, let's copy that again, and this time we will see the product acronym me.product acronym dot value, please provide the product acronym to proceed further. All right, product acronym, not acronym. Yeah, I know. Okay, brand is very important, so now let's get that. me.brand. So please provide the brand name to proceed further, and let's copy and paste in here. All right, cool. So these conditions are checked. If all of them are false, then go ahead and save the information. Simple as that. So we'll say me.created on. What did I do? Okay. All right. So me.created on dot value is equal to now. Then I want to get the location ID automatically, which will be fetched from the main form, which is our dashboard, and here is the location ID. And so we'll type in the code me.locationID.value is equal to forms exclamation mark. Which form? Main form. Then we have the LBL location ID dot caption. Okay, so that's how you do it. And next is, if I go here, what else? Status and status state, that needs to be filled in. So me.status.value is equal to active. So by default active status. Me.status state.value is equal to now. All right, now that is done. So toCMD.beep. First you save the information, toCMD.save, toCMD.beep, message box. The product has successfully been created. Okay, and VB information, and then information. All right, now one more important. So let's close this end with the end if block. One of the most important factor or aspect of this application, if you remember, is to record every single action of what user is doing. So with this activity, user is creating a new product, which means it has to be recorded into our log, so which is our user activity table. Remember this? If you have watched the previous videos, then you would know. If you haven't watched, then you would not know. So that's why I would suggest that you keep watching from the start of this series. Then you would know that why we built this, how we built this, what is a function. So that functionality needs to be built in this, behind this save button as well. And we do that with the help of record source. Remember that? Okay, so first, to use record source, we will declare the variable. So Tim, that is to declare the variable, Tim activity as record set. Okay, so record set is a variable. Now we need to tell Microsoft Access, what does record set mean? What does record set called activity mean, to be very specific? And we do that by coming here. So before saving the information, we tell Microsoft Access, what does record set called activity mean? So we'll say set activity is equal to current db dot open record set. Which record set? This table is our record set we are going to refer to. So user, it is called user activity. So that's the record set. Now we have informed Microsoft Access which what is the record set. So first we told Microsoft Access create a record set which is called activity. Now here with this line of code we said, okay, so a record set called activity is equal to this user activity table which we are referring to. Now Microsoft Access is asking, okay, so I know now what is activity. Tell me what should I do with it, right? So that we need to tell Microsoft Access. So we will say, Mr. Microsoft or Access, please add a new record in this record set. That's why we have created a record set. And now Microsoft Access knows, okay, fine, if you want me to add record in this table, I'm going to do that. Fine, fantastic. But tell me, what should I add? Now we need to tell. So first of all, we need to tell the location ID. And to do that, we have to refer location ID on our products form. This is where the location ID is captured, right? So then now we will say activity exclamation mark. Activity is our record set, remember, exclamation mark location ID. Location ID is equal to me dot location ID. All right. Then action type. What is the action type? What action is being performed? That we need to tell. Okay. So, well, a new record is being created. Remember this? We have to keep the same language. That's why I'm copy pasting. Next is the reference document. So which activity is a reference doc is equal to me.name, which means which form is being used to create this particular record that you are creating. And then what is the number of that record? So reference document number, that's the next field. So activity exclamation mark ref docnum, all right, that is correct, is equal to me dot product id dot, oh, we don't need dot value. All right, next is description of the activity. So activity exclamation mark description is equal to, what description should be? Well, let's user created new product. All right, cool. Next is actioned on. So activity exclamation mark actioned on is equal to now. Then actioned by. So who has created a record? Activity exclamation mark actioned by, and then we will refer to what? To main form, this form, right? This is where the person name is residing. So we will say forms exclamation mark main form exclamation mark this label dot caption. All right, what else we have? Well, that is it. Now after that, we have added all the fields, we have covered all the fields. What we need to do is we need to tell Microsoft Access that is it from us. After that, you update the information in that table and save the record at same time. So that is done for the save button. All right, now let's go ahead and do a coding behind mark inactive button. Now for this as well, we will have some logic. So if the product is already inactive, marked inactive, then nothing should be done. If the product is active, then you should be able to mark it inactive. But before you should be able to mark inactive, user should get a message box for the confirmation. Hey, do you really want to mark this product as inactive product? Then user clicks on yes or no to choose whether user want it or not. So let's go ahead and do that. So mark inactive and event tab, on click event dot dot dot, and in here we will type in some code. Because our first code block is exactly same, that's why I'm going to copy it, but I want you to write it down. Okay, else if well, this will be else if. Okay, if is null, me dot product id dot value is equal to true, then do cmd dot beep message box no record is selected to mark it inactive. We be critical, and the heading is information. All right, if these two are false, then else do what? Well, then throw a message box, confirmation message box, saying, hey, do you really want to mark this as inactive? And to do that, we have to create a variable like we did a couple of minutes ago. So we will say, let's come here, dim response as integer. Okay, and here we will say do cmd dot beep and response is equal to message box, and in that message box we will say you are about to mark this product as inactive. Are you sure to proceed further? Right, we are getting a confirmation. Right, confirmation, comma, oops, not here, VB yes no plus VB question, comma, this will be header of the message box, choose an option. All right, now we will say if response is equal to VB yes, then do what? Well, then simply you go ahead and you mark this product as inactive product. So then we will say me dot status dot value is equal to inactive. Me dot status state dot value is equal to now. All right, so after that, do cmd dot beep message box the selected product has been marked inactive. All right, simple as that. VB, this will be VB information, and the header would be information as well. Else if user selected no as a response, then do nothing. And if, and then end if for the main code block. That is it. Let's debug it, save it, close it. I hope that you have learned something, right? I hope that you're learning. Now let's test it out whether this the code that we have done is working or not. And to do that, we will log in. Central warehouse. Okay, we'll go to the product management. We'll go to the products. Well. Okay, let's handle this first. Let's do VB coding for this as well. And then at the last of the video, at the end of the video, at the end of the video, we will test it out. Okay, now let's do VB coding for behind this button. And to do VB coding for this button, what we need to do is, if this button caption is products, then now viewing should also say products has been clicked. This button has been clicked, so this now viewing field should say that. Now here there is a button, it is hidden at the moment. That button should be visible, and the caption of that button should be create product. And this list box should show if there is any existing product created. All right, so a couple of things these needs to happen, and that we will handle it using VBA. So let's go ahead and do that. To do it, we'll go to the design view. We'll select this button because first button is used for the products, right? And I'll go to the event tab, ... Now there is already a code, okay, and that code is because we have already used that button for something else as well. Now let's go ahead and use this button again, and that means we have to do the VBA coding in the same button, but we will use else if, right? Else if. So we'll say else if me.ptn1 dot caption is equal to products, then okay, so you can see here, by using this if and else if statements, we are actually first checking what is the caption of that button. Remember that one button is being used for a whole lot of different functions, for a whole lot of different options. And that's why it is a hybrid approach. I really like it. I don't know what is your stance about it, but I really like it, that one button is being used for multiple purposes. Okay, so btn if, so in here you can see we are asking, okay, check if the caption says locations, then use this code. If caption does not say location, then check if the caption says products. If caption says products, then what should be done? Now we need to tell that. Okay, so we'll say me.txt now viewing dot value is equal to me.ptn1 dot caption. So whatever the caption of the button, we want that in this txt now viewing field as well. Remember, txt now viewing field is a very important field because this field will become a reference point for the VB coding for a lot of things, and you will see that. Okay, all right, so make sure that that stays true. Now me.ptn create dot visible is equal to true. True. Me.btn create dot caption, not cancel, dot caption is equal to create product. So just to explain what we did for btn create is here, this is the button. So we want this button to be visible, and also we want the caption of this button to be changed to create product. All right, after that, what we want is basically this list box to be filled with the data coming from the product table. Now if there is no data, in the product table, then of course nothing will appear on the list box, but at least we will do the VBA coding. Okay, and to do that we will use the SQL statement, particularly the select statement. So we'll say me.dynamic list dot row source, okay, equal to select. Now we are asking Microsoft Access to select. Now Microsoft Access is asking, okay, I'm ready, what do you want me to select? Well, we want to select the product ID. That's the first field. Make sure that you type in whatever field name is correctly. Okay, make sure you do that. Then we type in the product name. So we'll say product. We type in the product acronym. Do you want the product acronym? Well, let's have it. Okay, product acronym. Spellings are correct. ACRONYM. ACRONYM, correct. Then we want brand, then we want status. So we are asking Microsoft Access to fetch the information, this information, and now Microsoft Access is shouting and asking, okay, from where should I fetch this information? Well, we will say from this table, product, okay. That is it. So now Microsoft Access knows what information should be fetched and from where it should be fetched. Now when we're dealing with the list box, we need to do a couple of more things, and those are, for example, we need to decide the column count, we need to decide the column heads, we need to decide the column widths. And to do that, we will simply type in the VBA code. So me.dynamicList.column count. How do we know how many columns should be in the list box? Well, this is how we should know. Column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 columns we want. And then me.dynamicList.column heads. Column heads is basically the header of each column, and we want them to be true. Next is the column width. So we have 5 columns. What should be the width of each column? So that we need to define. So me.dynamicList.widths with S. me.dynamicList.column widths, column widths with S. Okay, first column, usually we do need it, the first column which contains the product ID, but we don't need to show it on the list box. So that means we will hide it. That means we will keep the width of that column to 0 centimeters. Okay, that's very important. Next is product. That means product name. It could be a bigger field, and it should be bigger field, so we'll keep it as 5 centimeters. Then we have the next field, which is product acronym. Product acronym will not be a bigger field, but at least we will keep it as 4 centimeters. Then next we have brand name. So brand name, we can have it a little bigger, let's say 5 centimeters. Okay, and then next is status. So status could be 2 centimeters. Well, of course, we can always come back and change the column widths according to our adjustments. And that is it essentially for this. Okay, so what we did just now is when we click on this button, couple of things happens which I already explained. Now the last thing, let's do it, and then after that we will test it out. And that is, if I double click here, then the product form, which form? The products form should be opened with the existing record which I will select from this list box. So that should happen. Okay, so I'll click on create, I'll click on this list box on double click event dot dot dot. I'll come here. You can already see there are two code blocks already. So I'll simply say else if me.txt now viewing dot value. So how do we know which record should be opened if someone clicks on double click? Well, we know because we are using the now viewing text box as a reference field. Remember I mentioned that? So as a reference field, it is very important to use that. Is equal to products. Okay. And then toCMD.open form. Which form? Well, products form. And we have to give where condition, and that would be product ID is equal to emphasize me dot dynamic list dot column 0. Okay, that is it. So basically with this line of code we have informed Microsoft Access, okay, if somebody double click here, first check what is it in this field now viewing. Oh, if it is product, then open the products form, right? Products form. And how do you know which record you should auto populate in products form? Well, simply check the product ID. So whatever record is selected, check the ID field of that record, and then based on that fetch the information from products table and showcase it on products form. Genius, right? Simple but genius way. All right, so that is done. One last step, and that is to hook this button up with functionality. So if txt now viewing, again, this is why I said that this field is extremely important. So if txt now viewing is equal to what? Products, then open the products form. Okay, if someone clicks on create button, so we'll go to the format tab, for the property sheet dot dot dot, and in here we will simply come here and we will add a new code block, and for sure we need to have a confirmation message. So else if me.txt now viewing dot value is equal to products, then toCMD.beep response is equal to message box. What should be the message box? You are about to create a new product. Are you sure to proceed further? Question mark. Okay, comma, VB yes no plus VB question, comma, choose an option. That should be the header. Okay, if response is equal to VB yes, then toCMD.open form. Which form? Well, products form. Okay, and open it in the add mode so we can add a new record. Else if user clicks on no, then simply do nothing. Okay, and if. That is it. So debug it, save it, close it. Let's test it out. So let's first log on to central warehouse. There we go, product management, products. So you can see that at the moment there is nothing in the table. That's why nothing is being appeared. Well, that's fine. Now we will click on create product. It is asking choose an option. You're about to create a new product. Are you sure to proceed? And we'll say yes, I'm sure to proceed. And now we will choose product catalog ID. That would be electronics. Product name, let's say what should we have? Well, we will say Samsung mobile phones. Okay, and we will say the product acronym Samsung mobile phones, SMP. All right, brand name Samsung, of course. Let's click on save. The product has successfully been created. Looks like everything works well. So you can see the created on date is coming, location ID is fetched automatically, status date. We can have image as well, but right now I don't have it, so we'll have it like that. So close it, and you can see we have the product created, which is called Samsung mobile phones. So if I double click here, we can open that form with the same record, and we can do the editing if we wish to do so. So that, ladies and gentlemen, how you create a form to capture the information of the new product, update the information of new product, and then you fetch the information from the table and populate on your main dashboard. And then this is how you do it. That's how I know it. I don't know whether it is a right way or wrong way, but it works definitely. I hope that you have learned something in this video. If you have not, please do let me in the comments below, and subscribe to the channel if you have not just subscribed, and hit the bell icon so you get notification whenever I upload a video. Thank you very much for the support. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.